My name is Humayun Mirza. I'm General Secretary of the association, and this is my second term as a secretary. My parents came from Pakistan, but I was born in Saudi Arabia, at Tehran. My father in Saudi Arabia worked for Aramco, but before working for Aramco, he worked for British Embassy in Karachi. And the ambassador, he became very close with the ambassador and his good wife. It was they who actually brought him to the United Kingdom. And when he came here, he stayed with them. And then thereafter, he did some various jobs around in London, but life in London was too fast. He didn't like it, so he moved to Chester, and he lived in Chester for a very long time. He did a course with the British Rail. Then he got a job with British Rail in Liverpool, where he bought his first house, number 14 Flaxman Street, and he had a job as a signalman. So it was a very cushy job because he was by himself in the signal box, and it was based near Edge Hill Station. It was fabulous. He really enjoyed it. And thereafter, after working there, he tried his hand in various businesses. He even had stalls in the fruit and veg market, city centre where St. John's Market is presently. And then it wasn't very successful. Eventually he opened a shop on Granby Street, and that was very, very successful and lucrative business. And he resigned his position in the British Rail, and he did the shop business along with my mother as full-time job. My father's shop was called Cosmopolitan Traders, the first person to be selling exotic fruit and veg from all over the world. He bought okra, green chilies, yams, plantain, green bananas. Then they had all the Asian foods, the Chinese, the Greeks, the Arabs. We had spices from India and China and Sri Lanka. My father was importing his own food, and he was selling it wholesale to other wholesalers all throughout Europe. He was, it was a very, very busy small shop. He had thought about expanding it, but by the time the riots happened, it was too late to expand or do anything. So he closed it down and retired back to Pakistan. So he spent 6 months here, 6 months there. In the Liverpool Heritage Museum, they did a piece about the Asian businesses in Liverpool, and the gentleman missed my father out because, I don't know, for some reason or another, or everybody who went on that, they all asked, your father was the most successful businessman in the community. Why wasn't he being presented on this program as we all have been? In my first school I went to was Clint Road, not far from Flaxman Street. But the life in school, I couldn't understand or speak English. So it was a little bit miserable because I couldn't understand what the teacher was talking about. She would, help me to read books, but still, it took me about 6 months to learn English. And then as I learned English, it was very pleasant. The students in the primary infants and the juniors were very good, very nice. When they opened the business in Granby Street, the Granby Street School was just across the road from our shop. And therefore then, because we lived over the shop, they said it would be easier for you to go to Granby Street, so I enrolled in Granby Street School. The life there, because it was a mixed community school, it was very pleasant. Really enjoyed the years at Granby Street. There was no racism or anything, and it was very enjoyable. Then I went to Paddington Comp from the junior school, and the life there was very different because you had children from other areas of Liverpool, and it was a senior school. I encountered a lot of prejudice, and it wasn't good. But then the people who went with me from Granby Street, they experienced the same as well. So there would be a lot of fights breaking out between the youths of the BNB community as well as the English community. And it was one of the roughest schools in Liverpool. It was in the newspapers all the time for being one of the roughest schools. In the final years, in the sixth form, I really enjoyed it. All the people that stayed on, we did our A levels, O levels, and we were preparing to go to university. And I ended up going to art college. But my sixth form years were the best years. I made a lot of friends, and we are still close today as we were then. And so they became my best friends, and we're still very, very close to this day. We meet once or twice a year, and it's very enjoyable to see how everybody's been doing. I got on very well with all the English children, even in my junior schools as well. As a young lad, growing up on Granby Street, some of my good friends were English, but they had Irish names, so I would say they were Irish. But we all got on very well with one another. But as I went to the senior school, slowly I started to integrate with the black community as well as the white. But as I say, my final years in the school were fantastic. Really enjoyed them, and all my friends were English and white and Chinese. I liked being, as a child, I enjoyed the company of my grandparents in Pakistan. Being the eldest child, I was loved by grandparents from both sides, from my mother's side and my father's side. It was very, very nice. I was very, very close with them. Happy memory, a good memory would be time spent with friends when we went to Germany with the school. That was a very happy time. It was our final year in school, and it was one of the best times we've ever had. In our community, what happens is your parents have different things that they want you to do. They have different aspirations for you. But my aspirations and what I wanted to do, I had it clearly in my mind what I wanted to do. But it didn't tally with what my parents and my family wanted me to do. But I still did what I wanted to do. So I went to university and art college to do what I wanted to do and really enjoyed doing what I did. I studied film, photography, graphics design, and animation. Working for a very big advertising company, and I worked with them for a few years. And I worked for a fashion magazine for a while as well. But my aspiration was to actually go to the RCA, Royal College of Art. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to the Royal College of Art. My father became ill, so I had to come back to Liverpool and leave my job. And I actually looked after the shop while my father was recuperating. At school, I enjoyed art, and art was one of the things I enjoyed doing. I studied under some of the best artists in Liverpool, like Sam Walsh, John Baum. He did illustration as well, so it was fantastic to be able to work with some of the best artists in Liverpool and be taught by them. And therefore I applied for art college, and I got into the art college. And it was fantastic experience, but it wasn't just about painting and drawing and illustration and all that. It was about photography, film, animation, and all that. So it inspired me more to doing photography and film. So I went into that, and I met some very famous art directors during my time in college, like David Lean. He was filming Passage to India, and also Albert Broccoli of James Bond. It was very, very interesting. I learned a lot of things from them as well, and it was very inspiring. I was inspired by it. I wanted to continue it. I was even given a reference to take to the USA and become an art director, but unfortunately I didn't want to go to USA. And my father fell ill at the time, so therefore I came back to Liverpool. And I remained in Liverpool. And in the meantime, I resigned from my position in the advertising business, and therefore I took over the business, and I remained with my father until he recuperated. And then he said to me I could take a holiday. I took a holiday. I went to Pakistan. When I was in Pakistan, the Tuxteth riots happened, and I was shopping in Grammy Street. Was actually it wasn't looted or anything, but we had to close because our businesses we're supplying all the restaurants, all the hotels, all the fish and chip shops, from all the way to from London to Scotland and Ireland, and some Europe as well, like Belgium and Holland. And therefore, we had to close our shop because of the riots happened in Liverpool 8. The customers, the media, what they heard on the media, they stopped coming to the area, and therefore affected the business quite a lot. Yes, I'm married to a very lovely wife. I have, mashallah, 3 children, 3 boys. They're all doing very, very well. One is a lecturer. The eldest one is a research scientist, and the middle one, he's a specialist scientist doing research with a pharmaceutical company, which is, and they all enjoy their jobs very well. I have 3 grandchildren whom I love very much. They're great. It's a great feeling. When you have your own children, it's different as compared to having your grandchildren. It's a lot different. It's a worth experience. When I got married, I wasn't well versed with the traditions. Some of the traditions that they were asking, some of the things they were asking me to do, I thought they were having a laugh. I thought it was a joke, and so I didn't participate in them. But there were some weird traditions that they had, so I wasn't really amused at the time. No. One of the examples was the women bathe you, and they wanted me to take off my clothes up to my waist, and it just felt weird. I just couldn't go through with that rasam. And the water, being winter sort of months, it was coming on to spring. They brought the water from the well, and the water was freezing cold that they were going to bathe me in. But they just emptied the bucket over my head, and it was, I screamed at the time, but wow. Another example would be they put these plates by your feet, and they ask you to break them. They're made out of clay, and barefooted. And when I did try, I cut myself really badly, so that was a bad experience. I wouldn't do it for them, but it was just weird. Another one was people applying henna onto your hand. But what they did was they applied henna not on a leaf or anything, they applied it on my hand. So the henna was stuck on my hand for about 4 or 5 weeks. I had dark henna on my hands for 5 weeks or something, wouldn't go, I couldn't wash it off. The Pakistan Center is actually a gift to our community. And this is one of the most purpose-built building in Liverpool. Actually, this building was a gift from the central government of the United Kingdom to the Pakistani community. Likewise, the Caribbean Center was a gift. These both centers were built at the same time. And actually, the Pakistan Center and the Caribbean Center are both sisters. They're twins. And they were the first centers to be built, purposely built for a Pacific community in the United Kingdom. And I'm glad that we have the Pakistan Center, because it's a place where the adults and the children can come together to celebrate traditions and customs, and especially the Eid Milan parties are fantastic. And in a way, it's passing on these traditions to the children, and they learn from it as well. They're very enjoyable, and they do events for children as well in these functions, and it's fantastic. Other than that, we have the center whereby we have projects whereby we help the aged. So we don't just have Pakistani elder community coming in. We have the other local communities coming in, and they can sit down, talk, or have a cup of tea, have some food, and they enjoy themselves. And same, we have other functions and things for the children and the women, and these projects are very, very good and very enjoyable. And maybe do day trips for the children, etc., and summer camps or daycare for children, like local club events for children during the summer, hopefully. And they'll be more traditional, and I'm sure they will find them interesting and help them learn more about the culture. I think inviting the local English community and other local communities along to the centre to help the centre achieve its goals. I think inviting them will help our communities to integrate more, and knowing about one another's cultures and customs and traditions, it would help less this race hate crimes within the communities, as once they integrate with us, they will learn how we are, and we are very friendly. And we look forward to inviting people, as we do have welfare dinner events, and invite the dignitaries and local community leaders to these events. And they've thoroughly enjoyed them, and they've learned. We've had musical events whereby we've invited the local community, and they've enjoyed them, but unfortunately they don't understand the music, what's being sung or said, but it's very, very enjoyable. Racism is part of life in the United Kingdom. Racism, you can't get away from it. I experienced racism in school, but I just laughed it off as a joke. Whenever they made fun of me or whatever, I just laughed it off. So they would just leave me, because if they found something funny, I found it even funnier watching them. When my children were young, I used to visit every year. And in when I was 18, I used to nearly visit it every year as well. In my teen years, enjoyed living in Pakistan, enjoyed being with the family in Pakistan. I actually enjoyed being there with my mother's brother, my uncle, and my auntie and their children. And I also enjoyed being in my village as well. It was really, really nice. I used to always go in the hot months during summer, but it was very enjoyable. When they were younger, I used to take them every year to learn the customs and the traditions and get used to speaking the language, which they've learned very well. And also, so they speak English very well as Urdu, and they understand Punjabi as well. I still do consider it as my home, but the thing is, when you go to Pakistan now, after living so long in the United Kingdom, our relatives and family and friends that we have there, they alienate us. They say them and not one of, they don't say that we're one of them, we're one of outsiders. We're not considered as being part of the family. And that is very, very hard to get used to. Although, you know, it's when you leave somewhere, for example, I'll tell you what I feel sometimes. I feel that when I used to live in Pakistan and I left Pakistan and I had all the love and, you know, memories of Pakistan, they always stay in your heart. So when you go back to Pakistan, you hope to carry on from where you left off. But the people that you've been away from so long, they sort of alienate you, so you're not considered as one of them or a close relative because you haven't been there. So it's like that. So, and when you're in this country, that sometimes, you know, you're alienated by the community that you live in anyway. So, you know, you're right in the middle of, you know, neither here nor there. It's, that's what I feel. Well, my children, because they used to go every year, they still have that connection with Pakistan. They have a connection with their cousins in Pakistan, and they talk on the phone every other day anyway, so which is very good for them. I've took my grandchildren a few times to Pakistan, but my grandchildren don't like it. they I don't know much about my father's job as a signalman near to the Edge Hill train station. But I know that I used to take his lunch to him that my mother had cooked in a tiffin. And I would take it to him, and I remember going down the stairs into the signal box where he was. And he'd have a nice fire in the winter months going, and it was really nice and warm. I remember he had a chaise longue type of brown leather, you know, to relax on. Although there was table and chairs there, but every time a train would come, a bell would ring, and he would change the line from the signal box. So he had trains from London, or, Manchester, all over Birmingham, and he'd be changing the signals. But it was a nice, relaxing job. It wasn't a stressful job, but he thoroughly enjoyed it. Have you ever watched Easter's East movie? That's very, very much like us when we were young. It, it was because, you know, living in this country, it was very, very much, you was brought up in a British culture. Your friends were British, English. So you tend to tag along with them as what they did, and you'd be one of them, and that's what it was. It's exactly the same as them, and you'd be doing things what your parents wouldn't want you to know anyway, and it was exactly that film is spot on. It's exactly how it was. Sometimes it's hard to adapt to the Pakistani culture because sometimes there's things that you don't understand. Like they have in the center they have a mushaira, which are poetry evening. I don't understand the Pakistani poetry. It's the words of the old Urdu language that they use, and some of the words I've never used before, but it's hard to understand them. It's difficult. So there's things that you can relate to and things that you can't relate to. I'm sure all the people that lived in Pakistan, and poetry is normally a very big thing, and people do understand it and they love poetry. But unfortunately, I don't understand the poetry. But I understand the songs though. These songs are very, very nice. Some of the words are fantastic, especially listening to Rafi. Muhammad Rafi songs are absolutely fantastic. I think my parents or mother used to listen to them, so you can relate to them. Old memories come back when you listen to them songs. They're very, very nice songs. At one time, this Liverpool 8, it was very, very well integrated area. Actually, the communities that lived here on Granby Street, they all helped one another. It was very, very nice atmosphere. So we all actually got on very, very well. The Pakistani community was rife. They all lived off Granby Street, in all these streets coming off Granby Street. And we had our community centre, but it was over a butcher's shop. And that was our community Pakistan Association. It was a room at the top. It was a pretty big room. But all the major functions that we had, community get-togethers, we would either have them in Paddington Comprehensive School or Mountfort Hall, the Liverpool University, or the Adelphi Hotel. So there was various functions, Eid functions, community get-togethers, raising funds for Pakistan. They were all done in very, very nice places, but the office of the Pakistan Association was over the butcher's shop. It was I think it was 122 Granby Street. They had everything in there. And it was during that time that the government came up with a plan and offered us this Pakistan Centre. And originally, this center, now it's called the Pulse Center, but before it was called the Pakistan Center, or Pakistan Association, Liverpool. And it was very vibrant. We had a lot of the Pakistani kids coming to play badminton here, and snooker, table tennis, pool, and other board games. It was, very, very nice. But slowly, as the people started to move away from the area, and the kids were going to schools and universities, then that sort of dwindled and it stopped. So it was hard to bring children in because their families have moved out. And now the Pakistani community sort of lives all over Liverpool. It's not just one area like in other cities. It's just everywhere. So it's difficult to bring them all together. But they do all come together occasionally for big functions and all that. So it's very good. I think even though we've had the centre, the Pulse Centre refurbished recently, it's actually outgrown the community now. The community is now so big that we need to extend the centre more and bring it up to date to be able to cater for the community that we serve and the other communities that we serve, to be able to provide various projects for them to be able to integrate with one another. We wish, to be able to do that, but at the moment funding has become scarce as well, so we need to be able to apply for more funding to be able to provide projects within this centre. It's a very nice place, it's well up to date, everything is available in the centre, but as I say, it's a little bit small, it needs to be a little bit bigger.